Before we begin, I want you to ask yourself one question. Have you ever been underestimated by someone who thought they were better than you? If yes, then this story is for you, because what happens next will remind you that appearances can be dangerously deceiving. The morning sun rose slowly over the city. Its light hit the glass walls of Kane Global Tower like fire. 62 floors of steel, glass, and ambition, the tallest building in the city. And everyone inside it understood one unspoken rule. Victor Kane did not just own this building. He owned the air inside it. Victor Kane was 41 years old, sharp eyes, tailored suits, a voice that made grown men straighten their backs. He had built his empire from a single failing company into a billion-dollar corporation, and he had done it without apology, without softness, without mercy. Employees whispered his name in elevators, not out of affection, out of fear. Some admired him from a safe distance, others avoided his floor entirely on bad days. His assistant Daniel once said that working for Victor Kane was like standing next to lightning, thrilling, but always 1 second away from disaster. That morning, 12 senior managers sat around a long black conference table. The room smelled like fresh coffee and old tension. No one spoke, because Victor Kane stood at the head of the room. His expression was not angry. It was worse than angry. It was cold, calculated, disappointed. He placed a thick file on the table, not gently, hard. The sound echoed in the silence. "Who approved this proposal?" he asked. No one moved. 12 adults sat frozen like children caught misbehaving. A nervous manager slowly raised his trembling hand. "Sir, I did." Victor opened the file, flipped through page after page. Then he closed it. "This report is the worst thing I have seen cross this table in 5 years." The manager's face went pale. His lips parted slightly, but no words came out. If this company collapses one day, it will be because of work exactly like this. Because standing in the doorway was a woman in a gray cleaning uniform. She was pushing a small cart with cleaning supplies. "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't realize the room was still in use. I'll come back later." "Well," Victor said, "at least someone in this building understands when not to interrupt." "How long have you worked here?" "6 months, sir, and somehow she demonstrates more awareness than people who have been here 6 years. Elena stood still, her face completely calm, but inside she felt the weight of every set of eyes in that room. Victor waved his hand. "You can go." Elena nodded once. She began to turn away, but before she did, she looked directly at Victor Kane, just for one moment, just 1 second, and what Victor saw in her eyes stopped him. There was no anger there, no embarrassment, no wounded pride, just quiet, steady, unshakable confidence, like someone who already knew the ending of a story Victor had not even started reading yet. Elena walked away. The door closed softly behind her. But Victor Kane stood in that conference room and could not stop thinking about that look. Because the woman he had just used as a punchline in front of 12 executives held a secret so large that it could bring his entire empire to its knees. Stay with this story, because what happens next will change everything you think you know about power. Like this video right now if you are already on Elena's side. And make sure you subscribe to Story Haven Hub, because we post stories that will keep you up past your bedtime. And trust me, you do not want to miss what Victor discovers about his quiet maid. That evening, the building exhaled. Employees filed into elevators. Badges were tapped. Lobby doors swung open and closed. And slowly, Kane Global Tower became quiet. Most people left their troubles at their desks when they walked out, but some stayed behind. Victor Kane was always one of them, and tonight, so was Elena Carter. She moved through the executive floor with practiced efficiency. Office after office. Desk after desk. Polishing glass. Emptying bins. When she reached the end of the hallway, she saw that Victor's office door was open. A warm yellow light spilled out into the dark corridor. Victor looked up from behind a mountain of documents, dark circles under his eyes, jacket thrown over the back of his chair. The powerful billionaire now looked like something much more ordinary. He looked tired. He looked human. "Oh," he said. "It's you." "Yes, sir. I just came to clean the office. I can come back if—" "Go ahead." Elena stepped inside quietly, working slowly, methodically. "You didn't seem upset earlier." "People have said worse," she replied simply. "That sounds like experience talking." "Everyone has a story, Mr. Kane. Most people just never get to tell it." Victor leaned back in his chair. Something about the way she spoke was different. It wasn't attitude. It wasn't rudeness. It was something rarer than both of those things. Honesty. "What's your story?" he asked. "That would take more time than I have tonight." Victor almost smiled. "Fair enough." She gathered her supplies. "Good night, Mr. Kane." Victor nodded slowly. "Good night." The door clicked shut, and Victor sat in his expensive office, surrounded by expensive things, and realized he was thinking about a cleaning woman he barely knew. The next morning, Victor arrived earlier than usual. His assistant Daniel appeared at his side before he had even reached his office door. "Your 10 o'clock meeting with the Singapore investors has been confirmed." "Daniel." "Sir?" "That maid from yesterday. Find out about her." Daniel blinked. "Sir?" "She's a member of the facilities team. Is there a complaint?" "No complaint. Just find out what you can." Quietly. That afternoon, Elena was cleaning the employee cafeteria. 2 employees were watching Elena from across the room. "That's the woman Kane embarrassed in the meeting yesterday. She probably went home and cried. What else can she do?" Elena kept her eyes on her work. Her face did not change. Her hands did not slow. She had learned long ago that people reveal their character most clearly when they think no one important is watching. Just then, the cafeteria door opened, and the room changed instantly. Victor Kane walked in. Conversations dropped to nothing. People sat straighter. Victor went to the coffee machine. He turned and noticed Elena at the far end of the room. "You work late shifts and early mornings?" he asked. "The building doesn't clean itself." Victor almost laughed. "No, I suppose it doesn't." "Do you actually enjoy working here?" Victor asked. It came out more genuine than he intended. Elena tilted her head slightly. "That depends." "On what?" "On the people." Victor stood there for a moment longer than necessary. Then he nodded once and left. Power, it turns out, moves in directions you don't always expect, and Elena Carter knew that better than anyone. Stay with this story. Because what? Victor Kane begins pulling on a thread, and what unravels will shake the foundations of everything he believes. Subscribe to Story Haven Hub right now if you haven't already. We tell the stories that remind you that the quietest person in the room is sometimes the most dangerous. Over the next several days, something unusual happened inside Kane Global Tower. Victor Kane began to notice Elena Carter everywhere. Not in a strange way, just everywhere. Wiping down the glass panels near the elevators on the 40th floor, restocking supplies in the executive washroom corridor, quietly rearranging chairs in the boardroom before a morning session. She was always there before anyone needed anything done, and always gone before anyone thought to say thank you. But Elena Carter confused him, and Victor Kane did not enjoy being confused. One Tuesday afternoon, Victor stepped into one of the executive elevators. Just as the doors were about to close, a cleaning cart slid through the gap, followed by Elena. She looked up and saw him. She nodded once. The doors closed. They stood on opposite sides of the elevator. The numbers climbed. "You work almost every floor." "Yes, that must be exhausting." "Not really." "You enjoy cleaning offices?" "No," she said, simply, without hesitation. "Then what keeps you motivated?" "I enjoy observing people." People reveal a great deal about themselves when they believe no one important is watching. Victor stared at her reflection in the polished elevator doors. "That sounds almost philosophical." Does it surprise you that a cleaning worker might be philosophical? Victor paused. Honestly? Please? A little, he admitted. That is the most honest thing you have said to me. The elevator reached the executive floor. The doors opened. Elena pushed her card out. Power is a fascinating thing, Mr. Kane. Most people assume the most powerful person in any room is the one with the most money, the loudest voice, the biggest title. But I have learned that the most powerful person is usually the quietest one, the one who already knows how the story ends. Then she disappeared around the corner. Victor stood at the elevator doors for a long moment. The doors tried to close. He let them. He returned to his office, sat at his desk, and stared at nothing for almost 4 minutes, which was 4 minutes longer than Victor Kane ever stared at nothing. That evening, Daniel appeared in Victor's doorway. You asked me to look into the Maid. What did you find? That's just it, sir. There is almost nothing to find. No social media presence, no digital footprint of any significance, no financial records that stand out, no property listings, no news mentions, nothing. Nobody has nothing, Daniel. I know, sir. That's what concerns me. It's as if she simply appeared here 6 months ago. Then dig deeper. Use whoever you need to, because she speaks to me like she already knows something I don't. And in my experience, that means she does. That night, Elena worked on the rooftop lounge, the highest accessible level of the building. Glass walls on 3 sides. The entire city spread below like a circuit board lit from within. She was wiping down the long bar counter when she heard footsteps. Victor Kane stood near the rooftop entrance. He was in his shirt sleeves, no jacket, a glass of water in one hand. I didn't know anyone else came up here. I come here when I need to think. I've been coming here for years. Silence settled between them. Not uncomfortable, just honest. Why do you work here, Elena? That is a very long story. I have time. She smiled faintly without turning around. No, not tonight you don't. Will you ever tell me? Elena gathered her supplies. When the right moment comes, you'll know everything. And Victor stood alone at the top of his tower, staring out at a city he believed he controlled, feeling for the first time in years like someone else was holding the map. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, hit the like button right now. Subscribe to Story Haven Hub. Because what happened next is where the secret finally breaks the surface. And nothing after that will ever be the same. 3 days passed. Victor Kane functioned normally on the surface. He attended meetings. He reviewed contracts. He made decisions that moved millions of dollars across time zones. But underneath the routine, something was turning. A quiet restlessness he could not name or silence. He had been unable to stop thinking about what Elena said on the rooftop. When the right moment comes, you'll know everything. People did not speak to Victor Kane that way. On Thursday morning, Daniel knocked on Victor's office door with a very different energy than usual. There was urgency in the way he moved. And Daniel was not an urgent man. Sir, he closed the door behind him. I found something. Victor set down his pen. Sit. Daniel placed 2 documents on the desk. One was old, the paper slightly yellowed at the edges. The other was newer, a printout of a scanned legal record. This is a property ownership record from 12 years ago. There was a land acquisition just before the tower was built. The majority shares transferred to Kane Global when the deal closed. But one minority interest was held by a private family trust. Victor looked up. What family? Daniel pointed to a name on the document. Carter Family Trust. Victor stared at it. The name hit something at the back of his memory. Carter, he said slowly. Daniel handed him the second document. All rights, interests, and holdings of the Carter Family Trust hereby transferred in full to Elena Marie Carter. Victor set the paper down very carefully. Elena Carter. Daniel, the Carter family. I know that name. He placed a third item on the desk. Not a document this time. A photograph. It was taken at a charity gala, 18 years ago. Victor was younger in the picture, standing beside an older man with kind eyes and a broad smile. And just beside that man, a teenage girl. Quiet eyes. A stillness about her even in the photograph. Victor's voice dropped to almost nothing. The Carters. The memories came back slowly at first, then all at once. 18 years ago, Victor Kane had been 23 years old. He had launched his first company on ambition and borrowed money. Then it had nearly collapsed overnight. 3 investors pulled out in the same week. And then, a meeting. A man named Robert Carter had offered to invest, enough to stabilize everything, enough to breathe again. Victor had asked him why. Because my daughter read about your company in a business journal. She told me she believed in what you were building, and I have learned to trust her instincts. You will understand one day. Victor set the photo down, stood up, and said one word. Where is she? The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. Victor stood still. His reflection stared back at him from the polished doors. He barely recognized the man looking back. When had he stopped paying attention? When had he become the kind of man who uses someone as a punchline without knowing their name? And there, at the far end of the lobby, a woman in a gray uniform. Calmly wiping the surface of the reception desk, unhurried, unaware, or so it appeared. Victor crossed the lobby. His footsteps echoed. Several employees turned to look. Elena turned as he approached. Her expression did not change. Just that same steady, quiet calm. Elena! Mr. Kane, why didn't you tell me? Elena looked at him for a long moment. Then she said something Victor would carry with him for the rest of his life. I wanted to see who you had become. 6 quiet words, but they landed like a verdict. Stay with us. If this story is moving you, hit the like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. And subscribe to Story Haven Hub, because we are just getting to the most powerful part. And it begins with 4 words Elena says to Victor that will change everything. Victor Kane had faced hostile takeovers. He had survived financial crises. He had sat across from some of the most ruthless negotiators in the world and never once looked away first. But standing in his own lobby, facing a woman in a cleaning uniform, he felt something he had not felt in a very long time. Exposed. Come with me, he said. Elena nodded once. They took the elevator to the rooftop lounge. The city spread out below them in every direction, silent and glittering. Victor stood near the glass wall. He did not sit. People like Victor Kane do not sit when they are trying to hold their composure. How long have you known who I was? Since before I applied for the cleaning position. Victor turned. You applied deliberately. Yes. To work as a maid. Yes, because titles change what people show you. When you are invisible, when you are someone no one thinks to perform for, you see everything. And what did you see? I saw a man who built something remarkable. A company that genuinely helps people. Thousands of jobs. Real careers. Families supported because of what you created. Victor nodded slowly. But somewhere in the building of that empire, the man who built it got buried underneath it. The Victor Kane, who impressed my father, believed in people. He listened. He noticed the humans around him. Now the people around you are afraid of you, not inspired by you. Afraid. I saw it in 6 days. I spent the remaining time hoping I was wrong. Elena, I owe you an apology. What I said in that conference room, I know. It was wrong. I know that too. Then why don't you seem angry? Because anger would have required me to care what you thought of me. I never came here for your opinion. I came here for an answer. Whether the man my father believed in still existed somewhere inside this building. You sent flowers. And a card signed by your assistant. Victor closed his eyes briefly. He had no defense for that. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. I have not been anything else. Your father's trust held a minority interest in the land this tower stands on. When ownership transferred to you 4 years ago, did you retain that interest? Elena looked at him. Yes. So you are a minority shareholder in the land. Not a minority shareholder. Victor stopped. When my father originally entered the arrangement 12 years ago, the terms included a clause. A buyout option that expired if not exercised within 10 years. Your legal team never exercised it. What are you saying? I am saying that when the option expired 2 years ago, the ownership structure reset to its original terms. The silence that followed was the loudest silence Victor Kane had ever experienced. You are saying, Elena finished the sentence. I own Kane Global Tower, Victor. The building he had spent 15 years building his identity around legally belonged to a woman he had pointed at like furniture a week ago. Victor sat down. For the first time that evening, he sat down. Did you come here to take it from me? Elena watched him carefully. No. Then what do you want? I want the man my father invested in to come back. That's all I have ever wanted. That simple? That complicated, she corrected gently. You have had the legal power to walk into my boardroom and end my control for 2 years, and instead you got a cleaning job and watched. Yes. Why? Because power used without purpose is just destruction. My father didn't save your company so that his daughter could tear it apart 20 years later. He saved it because he believed it was worth saving, and so did I. What happens now? Elena stood. Now, you decide what kind of man you want to be. The building isn't going anywhere, and neither am I. Comment below right now. If you were Elena, would you have revealed the truth sooner? Subscribe to Story Haven Hub. Like this video if this story is giving you chills. And stay right here, because the final part of this story is the one that makes everything worth it. Victor Kane did not sleep that night. He sat in his office until 3 a.m, not reviewing contracts, not making calls, just sitting, thinking. He pulled out old files from the early years, a photograph of the original team. 12 people in a small rented office, all of them smiling, not because things were going well, but because they believed they were building something. Victor stared at his own face in that photograph, young, tired, but genuinely alive. He thought about Robert Carter, the man who had seen something worth saving in a struggling young entrepreneur. His teenage daughter had read something in a journal and said the words, "I believe in this." He picked up his phone 3 times, put it down 3 times. The 4th time, he sent a message to Daniel. Please arrange a full staff address for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. All floors, all departments, everyone. And then he did something he had not done in a very long time. He sat quietly, without a plan, without a strategy, just a man and the silence and the weight of what he had become. The next morning arrived gray and cool. A light rain moved across the glass of the tower. By 8:45, the atrium on the ground floor was filled with employees, hundreds of them, gathered in clusters, murmuring uncertainties. Full staff addresses were rare at Kane Global. When they happened, they usually meant something significant. Restructuring, acquisition, layoffs. People were afraid. Elena was there too, standing near the back, beside her cleaning cart, hands folded in front of her. At exactly 9 o'clock, Victor Kane stepped onto the small raised platform. The room became very quiet. Victor looked different, not in his appearance. He was still immaculately dressed. But there was something missing from his posture. The performance of authority, The careful distance he always maintained. It was gone, and what was there instead was something far more difficult to stand before hundreds of people and demonstrate. Vulnerability. He looked out across the room. He found Elena's face near the back. She gave nothing away. I want to start this morning with something I have not said to most of you in a very long time. Possibly ever. Thank you. Silence. Confused, cautious silence. I have spent many years building this company into something I was proud of. But in focusing on the work, I lost sight of the people doing it, including some of you standing in this room. There is a person here who reminded me of something this week. She did it quietly, without drama, without revenge. Even though she had more than enough reason and more than enough power to choose revenge instead. Every person in this building has a story. Every person here matters. Not because of their title, not because of what floor they work on, but because they showed up, and that deserves respect. He stepped down from the platform. That is all. Thank you for being here. The crowd held its silence for a moment. Then slowly, applause began. Not the kind of applause people give because they feel expected to. The kind that starts in one corner and spreads because it is genuine. One older woman from the mailroom reached out and briefly touched his arm as he passed. He stopped, turned, and said thank you to her specifically. She looked like she might cry. Victor made his way to the back of the atrium, to the woman standing next to a cleaning cart. He stopped in front of her. He looked at her the way one person looks at another when all the layers have finally been removed. I have a proposal, he said. Elena raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. I would like you to take a formal role at this company. But is that what this is about? Formalizing an arrangement? Protecting yourself legally? Victor shook his head. No. Your father invested in a man he believed in. I would like the chance to prove that investment was sound. Not to repay a debt. Not to secure a partnership. But because you came back to this building looking for something worth believing in. And I don't want to let that leave. That is the most self-aware thing you have said since I got here. I'll consider it. That's all I'm asking. My father would have liked this version of you. I hope to give him more reason to. Victor. Yes? The building was never what mattered, and Victor Kane stood in the lobby of the tower he had built, watching the woman who owned it push a cleaning cart toward the service corridor. And for the first time in 15 years, he felt something more powerful than wealth, more durable than control, more rare than anything his empire had ever produced. He felt like himself again. Like this video if Elena's patience inspired you. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And subscribe to Storyhaven Hub, because every week we bring you stories like this one, stories that remind you that the quietest voice in the room is sometimes the one that changes everything. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next story, and trust me, it is coming.